this thing on. I guess. Oh. So, with my blog, chasethejourney.com, if you don't know, you should go there, sign up, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. But why I started the blog, it's a long story. But like, I lived probably for 20, 25 years without sort of thinking that I had a disability. I had a really good, like, you know, growing up was a little bit challenging, and then I had a really good run from like maybe 14, 15 to maybe 35. And so I sort of, in a sense, distanced myself from the disabled community. I just wanted to sort of pretend that I wasn't disabled. And so did a lot of stuff and tried to, you know, live a normal life. And I guess I succeeded in some sense. But anyway, all that to say, as things start to change with my body, I'm getting older, a little fatter. And, yeah, I decided just to start a blog. One of the things that's sort of a bit of a pet peeve of mine, you know, when you haven't seen someone for a really long time and you notice changes about them. So, you know, maybe they've gained a few pounds, maybe they lost a few pounds. But I have this thing where if I haven't seen someone for a really long time, and then all of a sudden they see me, you know, using a wheelchair occasionally or something like that, I find it really, it's just a weird interaction. I ran into somebody a couple of months ago. We were in the market, and somebody I probably haven't seen for 10 or 12 years, maybe more. And she never asked why I was using the wheelchair, but I could tell she was sort of wondering. And people want to ask, like, am I doing okay? Am I dying? I'm not dying. Anyway, well, technically we're all dying. So anyway, there's nothing, like, wrong with me, but things have changed. It's gotten harder to walk and all of that. And so I wanted to start a blog just to kind of hash out my feelings about the whole thing. Like, I find blogging to be very therapeutic. So I just decided to start writing one day about it. And, you know, got a good audience of about 7 to 9 people. My mom and dad, my sister, you know, my wife reads it out of obligation. So it's off to a good start. And so, yeah, that's why I started it. So maybe I should start with an introduction. I guess I never did that. My name is Jonathon, with an O-N, not an A-N. I was born in a long time ago. I am getting old. 1978. Was born with Spina Bifida. Nobody really, well, they knew something was going to be wrong with me. I don't think anybody knew that it was going to be that. So, took a little drive in an ambulance to a different hospital and got my backside all stitched up. If you don't know what Spina Bifida is, Google it. There's probably way better explanations than I'll give you. But basically, part of my spinal cord was kind of outside of my body, and they've got to, like, stitch it back up, shove it all back in, stitch it back up, hope for the best. And so you end up a lot of times with a few complications. But anyway, there's lots of, Google it, lots of articles out there about that. So anyway, after that, like, I lived a pretty normal life. Like, certain things I couldn't do, and had some medical issues and that sort of stuff. But, like, life is just normal. That's something that really bothers me about the way people perceive somebody who lives with a disability. Because we only all look through our own lens of experiences. And so if you are an athletic person and you love sports, you love hockey, you love running, all that kind of stuff. And then one day you think, if I woke up tomorrow and I was paralyzed, that would be devastating. And you're right, it would. But for someone like myself, my body has always had limitations. And so I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what it's like to run. Like, I can only see it through my own eyes, my own experience. And so all I think is, I'm looking down the street here and I'm thinking, Man, if I had to run down to the stop sign, that would be awful. I would feel terrible, and I would probably collapse on the side of the road and maybe die. I don't know. And so that's the way I see it. So when people feel sorry for somebody who has a disability, it's really not helpful, because I don't feel sorry for myself. I don't like sports, like, at all. The other thing I don't like team sports is, that's a whole other story. I just don't like team sports. In my eyes, in like hockey, it would always be the goalie's fault. And I know that's not the way it works, but that's the way I would see it. I don't understand team sports. And so it's been awkward, because lately, like, especially with this whole wheelchair thing, I've been having some mobility issues. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest. We live in a house that's not ideal for that. We'll sort that out at some point in time. And all I'm thinking is, like, I'm meeting my parents at the mall this afternoon for lunch, and it's going to be nice to be able to sit in the chair and get into the food court. Whereas if I think about doing that, with the legs that I'm currently using, I don't want to do that. So the wheelchair gives me a tremendous amount of freedom. So it's always so funny when somebody says, like, if I say I'm having some mobility issues, I need to use a wheelchair, people always say, oh, that's too bad, or that, I feel, I'm sorry. I don't know. Am I not sorry? Maybe. It sort of is what it is, and I don't know. I don't feel that badly about it. It's annoying. I think annoying is more the thing for me. Like, you gotta, you park in a parking spot, and then you've gotta, like, drag the wheelchair out of the trunk, and it gets all dirty, and then put it all back in. It's annoying. It's not like the end of the world. I can pretty much go everywhere that I want to go. I have no aspirations of going hiking or anything like that. Everywhere I want to go is pretty much paved. Restaurants, shopping, events, or travel. It's really not that challenging. I wanted to go back to what I was saying about the blog and being therapeutic. One of the things, for whatever reason, I remember, like, everything. And so, inconsequential stories from my youth, I remember them. I don't know why. And so, some of them are pretty funny. That's why I decided, like, I tend to like to tell stories. And so, I started, I wrote a story of, it's not, I don't want to call it a story, it's an account of when Joy and I met and how we ended up, starting to date and all of that. And I wrote about, how I came to faith in Jesus and through a dead cow. And so there's some interesting stories there. And so I thought I might as well document all of this because, well, why not? The thing about stories that I find so fascinating is that once they're gone, so the person who has an interaction, they have something, a story, they have a unique experience. Once they're gone, those stories they're gone. So if they haven't been documented anywhere, if they haven't written a biography, if they don't have pictures and videos, the stories are they've vanished. Like I think about my grandparents. It's they all have passed away. My grandmas both passed away in 1998, and there's stories that are just gone. And so I wanted to use the blog to kind of get some of that down. And maybe I'll write a book one day. My parents say I should write a book, but that's kind of like all those people that tell their kids that they're really good singers, and so they go on American Idol so that we can all make fun of them. So, everybody says, well, my mom says that I can sing. This might be the same thing. Well, my mom or my dad says I should write a book. Of course they think that. They're sort of obligated to love me, and so, it is what it is. So one thing I'm going to do is I'll probably apologize now for wearing the same shirt like a lot. I'm just one of those people. I think I got it from my dad. My dad has this thing where he, like, goes through spurts. Like, he likes to wear the same shirt a lot. And, you know, it'll go for like 6 months or whatever, and then he's on to a new shirt. And we used to make fun of him for it when I was younger, but I'm kind of like that. And so this shirt, my sister bought me like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago. And I like it. I like the weight of the material. It's a Columbia shirt. I don't wear a coat in the winter. So I'm in Canada. It's cold. You can see the snow back there. But I hate wearing a coat. It makes me feel like, I don't know, like, you know, that Michelin big guy. I just feel like overstuffed when I'm wearing a coat. So I never wear a coat. And so this shirt works for me. And apparently people have started to notice. My nephew Cameron happened to mention it at Christmas time. Like, we've got Christmas photos from multiple years, and I'm wearing the same shirt. It's clean. Other fun fact about me, I'm on some medication that causes suppression of sweat. And so I don't really sweat. Like, I could wear the same shirt every day for like a week, and if I didn't spill something on it, you would not know. And so it's kind of, you know, I'm kind of fortunate that way. And I like this shirt. I think it brings out the color of my skin, my eyes, whatever. Makes me look good. And so I'm going to apologize now, but if you see me in this shirt, it's probably that I didn't record all the videos on the same day. I just like wearing the shirt.